The term cat's whisker dipole is a colloquial name for a fan dipole or parallel multi-band dipole. It is an incredibly efficient, low-cost way to operate on multiple HF bands using a single coaxial feed line, avoiding the losses and bandwidth restrictions of traps or the need for a remote antenna tuner. A cat's whisker consists of multiple half-wave dipoles cut for different bands, all joined in parallel at a single center insulator or 1:1 balun. When you transmit, no physical switching is required. The RF energy automatically seeks the path of least resistance. The dipole element that is resonant at your transmission frequency will present a very low impedance, typically around 50 to 70 ohms, while the non-resonant elements will present a very high impedance. The RF naturally flows almost entirely into the resonant element. If you want to cover 5 bands such as 80 meter, 40 meter, 20 meter, 15 meter and 10 meter, you only need 4 sets of wires. This is because a dipole naturally resonates on its odd harmonics. The 40 meter element will act as a 3/2 lambda dipole on 15 meter, giving you that 5th band for free. Here are the approximate starting lengths for each leg of the dipole. 80 meter around 19.3 meter, 40 meter and 15 meter element 10.1 meters, 20 meter element about 5 meters and 10 meter element about 2.5 meters. Building the antenna is straightforward, but tuning requires patience due to how the elements interact with one another. The wires must be physically separated to minimize capacitive coupling. If installed horizontally or as an inverted V, you spread the ends out like a cat's whiskers. If the wires must run parallel, use PVC or lightweight fiberglass spacers to keep them at least 4 to 6 inches apart. Always cut your wires a few inches longer to leave room for tuning. Start by transmitting on the lowest frequency band, that is 80 meter, and pruning the longest element for the lowest SWR. Once the 80 meter element is tuned, move to the 40 meter element. Here is the catch. Trimming a shorter element will slightly shift the tuning of the longer ones. You will usually need to iterate through the bands 2 or 3 times until the SWR is acceptable across the board. While you can feed a cat's whisker directly with coax, using a 1:1 current balun at the feed point is highly recommended. It prevents common mode currents from traveling back down the coax shield, keeping RF out of your shack.